Did you catch any of the Nashville, Minnesota game over the weekend? Specifically the ending. John Hines, I can't believe he did this, pulling his goalie from Minnesota in overtime, 4-on-3 situation. If Minnesota were to get scored on in that moment, they would lose the extra point that is normally allotted to that team in overtime. Instead, they win the game. They get the full 2 points. One of the most gutsy calls we've seen this year. I still can't believe that happened. What did you think of that moment?
What's amazing is that he did it with 6 weeks left in the season, right? And obviously, it's just a reflection of where Minnesota is in the standings. They're down 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter right now, and they're trying to Hail Mary a comeback. And look, if it happens, we'll probably look back on this moment and say this is where it started for the Wild, that they got it back. Because it has happened at least once in the past where someone has done it, but it's usually on like the last day of the season where you really need the 2 points. And if you lose the one, by pulling your goalie, it doesn't matter. The fact that they did it this far out and it worked, I mean, good for John Hines. I mean, we're seeing coaches, I think, play the percentages more. It's almost like in the NFL, Julian, like how way more teams are going for it on fourth down because the numbers show that's better. You're seeing way early goalie pulls. Patrick Waugh still pulling goalies with like 8 minutes left of the game and stuff like that. And this is kind of an extension of that. I'm sure the Wild, I mean, I'm willing to bet that wasn't just a gut feel call. I bet that they had some numbers to back up the decision there. And look, when you're 4-on-3, that's a lot of ice. Like I would say like a 4-on-3 power play is more dangerous than a 5-on-4. Now it wasn't a power play in this case because someone had to be thinking about the net at the other end.
Of course.
But good on them. I think it's compelling. I think it's interesting. And I wonder if Minnesota finds itself in overtime again, if it's going to continue. Like, is this now standard operating procedure, or was that a one-off game where they felt like the team they were playing made it worth it and all that sort of stuff? Because Nashville would be one of the teams, obviously, Minnesota's trying to chase down. To be continued, but pretty compelling, interesting call by Hines.
I believe the last time this happened, I'm going off of the NHL Public Relations account. They tweeted this. The last time that situation has happened, Los Angeles over Boston on October 28th, 2017. If memory serves, that's probably the game where Tyler Toffoli scored that goal in OT and won it like off the faceoff with like how many seconds left. So that's probably that, like, because there was not a lot of time. There was literally enough time for them to win the faceoff and then shoot, which probably makes sense why you want an extra skater on the ice. At that point, Boston doesn't have enough time.
They didn't have time. They didn't have time to send it down and score on your empty net.
Exactly. I believe it's probably that game.
Huh. Yeah. There you go. Well, that was an October game. But yeah, I think that there was another one at the end of the season one year where someone did it. But again, you just did it at that point because you had nothing to lose in a sense. Exactly. I mean, your season was on the brink. But in this case, like losing that extra point with 6 weeks left, like John Hines opened himself to a lot of second guessing there if that didn't work. But it worked. So here we go. We're giving him his flowers.
Here. On Friday, rumors circulated that the Los Angeles Kings were shopping Pierre-Luc Dubois. Can you confirm or deny this? If true, what was the ask? This is from Lori Bennett.
I don't think they were shopping. This is where we get into semantics. I think that there were very few centers available to any team looking to acquire a center. Pierre-Luc Dubois plays center. I don't think it's a secret to say it hasn't gone well in the early days in LA for him. And I think that they were at least just gauging what might be out there. And I don't believe anything got that close. I think that's the extent of it. Shopping is different, right? Shopping is where you're like, we are desperate to get rid of this guy. But when we talk about trades that didn't happen that are worth revisiting in the summer, let's see where everyone is there in the summer. And, Dubois has trade protection, right? I believe in his contract. So like he would have to be on board with this. And maybe, who knows? They've already made a coaching change there. We'll see where the Kings are at. Maybe there's a way to patch this up still. But, I think that they were gauging the market, much like, to be fair, I know with Elias Lindholm in Vancouver, I think it's the similar thing, like where obviously they didn't decide they had to trade this guy they just got. They were seeing what it would look like. They were having exploratory conversations that didn't ultimately materialize in a trade.